Welcome back, traders. Welcome back to Trader Roundup. In today's Mindset Mondays podcast, I'm going to introduce you guys to my good friend Riz, who is a professional proprietary trader. We're going to be discussing mindset, trading psychology, and exactly the things that traders are struggling with right now. So I'm looking forward to this one. I can see the chat. People are going nuts. What's up, everyone? What I want to do now is introduce our guest of honor. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum salam, brother. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Good to see you. And it's just want to let everyone know how we met. We met over in the FX Connect first time. We shared a stage on the day that we met, and that was a really insightful occasion when we met. And then we met again recently over in Nottingham for
Correct.
the SFT
Yeah.
boot camp.
Yeah.
So really glad that you're here on the podcast. So if you could introduce yourself to everyone, let everyone know who you are, your journey as a trader, because I'm sure some of the traders here might not know who you are, etc. So yeah, please to introduce yourself.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you again. First time. Firstly for inviting me. Really appreciate that. And yeah. So the way we met as well was very coincidentally as well. First time we met at the event and just connected really well. And then again at the Nottingham event as well. So yeah, again I appreciate everybody in the space who have allowed for these kind of connections to happen. Yeah, wasn't aware of before, but we meet one time. We share our ideas and yeah. So again, I'm really grateful for the network, the people we know together, and then just
Yeah,
just
it was a
allowing
proper good. It was a proper good vibe. Like we had such deep conversations, and the traders who were surrounding us as well. They had a lot of questions for us. So it's really motivating. I felt inspired, to be
yeah,
honest.
definitely.
So
And also,
hopefully we can bring some of that
yeah,
wisdom, some of the
yeah,
insights into this talk.
yeah. Now, definitely, it's also like the people, their stories, where they're coming from, and you can relate a lot with it. And what I feel like with traders, especially how I was as well, like especially in the early years, I was very isolated, very alone, and I feel like in the journey it can be very yeah, it can be quite daunting when you are just on your own, when you're not able to share what you're going through,
Mm,
whereas for example with people on the journey or similar minded people, um you're able to kind of share and understand where somebody's going. Whereas, for example, with my close family and friends, they might not understand what I'm going through.
yeah.
Whereas somebody who's been through or is going through, you can understand the situation. So yeah, a little bit just about myself. So I've been trading for 5+ years now. So just over 5.5 years now. Started off trading in 2018. So that is FX in 2018. I was introduced to the markets with crypto in 2017. So about summer 2017.
Wow.
So just about 5-6 years in the financial markets. Again, so for me, the biggest thing was as an opportunity, and I was at university at the time, and I said to myself, I want to give myself a few years for finishing my university. I want to try something really for myself, and yeah, I've always been, I think, programmed slightly differently. Ever since I was young, always wanted to do kind of my own thing, and university was more so because of my background and my family, more so like a security. And then yeah, so once I had secured that and told my parents as well, I want to give a few years of my life to try something that I really want to do. And then I would say I had my breakthrough in trading during COVID. So 2020, 2021, that was the time where I had my breakthrough. Again, allowed me, was a blessing in disguise, allowed me to really put my head down, focus. When COVID happened, lockdowns happened, I was like, okay, look, either I'm going to use this time to really focus on myself and focus on something I want to do, or just waste the time. So yeah, that is a little bit about me. I've been funded since 2021 with FTMO, my forex funds, and now I've been working on building my own track record, my personal account. So I've been funding my personal account with those profits, and yeah, setting my track record right now, and then building currently an investment management company, and looking to take on investors' money for the future, and that is kind of the vision for the next 5 to 10 years.
Wow. Wow. There's a lot to unpack there. So I want to take it back to 2017. You said you got into crypto, right?
Correct.
So crypto is 2017. That was a big year. A lot of emotions. I mean,
Mm.
how did you actually handle and overcome that period? I mean, was it a profitable period? Were you down? I mean, talk us through that journey that you experienced in crypto.
Yeah, yeah, that was like, for me, it was like a first. So it was a first insight into the
Mm-hmm.
market and a first hit as well at the same time. So what happened was I was introduced by a family member, a close family member of mine. I invested at the time, I think around £5,000. Yeah, so nothing, not too much, but I was a student, so it was my first kind of investment into any market. I saw that £5,000 turn into just over
Wow.
£50,000 within a period of 3 months. Yeah, I was at the time, I think 21, turning 22. So yeah, was a significant amount, and then just seeing those kind
Yeah.
of figures, like, it didn't feel real at the time. So I did take a good bunch out, but I saw the rest kind of just yeah, go to zero pretty much. And then that kind of opened my eyes to the financial markets. um and I would say, even though it wasn't the best approach, I learned a lot from those mistakes, I would say, especially in the financial markets. I wouldn't, of course, advise anybody just going blindly into
Mm-hmm.
something. um Now, having gone through all of that, now I understand, okay, look, you need to be educated, you need to understand what you're putting your money
Mm.
into, the risk that comes
Yeah.
with it. Yes, there's rewards to the upside, but ultimately, we want to make educated decisions, we want to make smart
100%.
decisions. um and I feel like as you get older as well, you start to value more more money as well, and in the sense of, it's not that easy to come by. Like, it takes a lot of hard work to get to whatever that is. So yeah, sometimes you might see some numbers on the
Mm-hmm.
screen, but when you actually realize the actual value in real life has a
Mm-hmm.
big impact, that's when you start realizing those profits. So it's not just numbers
Uh-huh.
on the
And
screen.
when you saw, if you compare the emotion of when you saw that 50K back in 2017 to now when you see 50K, let's say you're floating 50K, what's
Yeah,
the difference between the emotion then and the emotion now?
because back then it was like I was it was like I was yeah, it was a big thing at that age. And also, just because I felt I got like the wrong kind of, like, I was in the right time at the right place at
Mm.
the right time. It's sort of gone wrong very, very quickly as well. And a lot of people I've seen, where they've invested, for example, at the highs, and invested a lot of money, they've taken out loans or whatever, and then they've seen the downside. Basically, they've seen pretty much everything go down to the down to the bottom. So I feel like I was just, yeah, I would say it was the first experience. It was mainly luck, I would say, right
Yeah.
place, right time. But that opened the eyes to me, and yeah, to the financial world, and then that's why I stuck with it, and that's it. And then yeah, and for me, the biggest thing was, there's no cap to um yeah, there's literally no cap to there's no ceiling. It's down to yourself, really. And if you take down the right
Mm-hmm.
route, I think that's why I got into trading. So first it was like investment, and then into
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
trading world.
And how do you currently deal with um like your risk? And because risk management, you said earlier, it's so fundamental
Yeah,
to trading,
yeah,
obviously with
yeah,
investing as
yeah.
well. But how
Mm,
do you usually use how do you utilize your risk management now in order to help you with your psychology?
mm. Yeah, so I would say, so definitely the biggest thing that I've had from my journey. So early on from my journey, and I'll be completely transparent as well. So I done a forex course in
Mm-hmm.
2018, and I feel like wherever I've taken something, I've always taken
Mm-hmm.
some bits from different areas, and I've kind of combined it to my own style now. But the biggest thing I would say that I took from the first course I took, even though the technicals didn't help me, I didn't reach any profitability with that style. But what I did take away with it was risk management and journaling. So two very important things that stuck with me up to
Yeah.
this day, and I still use it to this day. So, for example, risking only 1% per trade. That was what I was introduced to. Not risking more than 1% per trade, for
Mm.
example, especially if you don't know, or if you're very early in stages as well. So, not allowing your account to blow. And I can say, with quite proud that I've never blown a personal account, um,
Yeah,
trading.
that's really good. And so in terms of how do you, in terms of like where you were before in your trading when you were
Mm,
developing yourself, you experienced these highs and lows of the crypto market. What did you struggle with in particular with your trading psychology? And then
mm.
what did you do to overcome that exactly? So what, yeah, so first question is what did you struggle
Yeah.
with, and then how
Yeah.
did you overcome that?
I think the biggest thing with me was fear of missing out,
Mm,
FOMO. So that was number one. Number two was being constantly on the charts, trying to basically catch every single move in the market. Um, Third thing was I was introduced to a lot of, I would say, um, bad trading. So in essentially, I was exposed to a lot of false information. So, for example, like in the early years, seeing, or following certain type of trader that are
mm,
showing 10, 20 hour trades and pretty much every single day. And then when I was trying to replicate this, I quickly realized, that that's not really sustainable, or it's not something that works, or it's not something that is feasible. You know, people showing 10-hour trades and then every single day. So it's not like once in whatever, which I've seen that can happen once every now and then, but it was more so, 10-hour, 20-hour trades being caught every single day, every second day. And so eliminating those three things.
wow.
The first thing was definitely um, understanding, when to participate in the market and when to be able to sit out of the market. Again, this comes with experience and the losses I've taken, and then collecting data and then looking back at my data and kind of understanding and differentiating between high probability trades and low
Hmm.
probability trades. And that has allowed me to basically not have those emotions of fear of missing out. For example, now for me, it is about, for example, if I see a valid setup, I will only take that setup if it's valid. If I don't see it as valid, I don't take any setup. Like for me, when I come to my session, if I don't see a valid setup, no trade. And I've created a set of rules for myself. So that has allowed me to take away the parts of FOMO, take away the part of trying to constantly try to catch every move in the market. So that's one thing. The second thing was really just focusing on myself, focusing on, creating a system that works
Yeah,
for me, that works to my understanding, and it fits my lifestyle as well.
I love
Yeah,
the fact that you mentioned that you collected the data, and then you found, according to the data, what was high probability versus low probability. So that in itself allowed you to optimize, and by reducing the low probability setups or times of the day when you're not supposed to be trading, or the type of setup you're not supposed to be trading, that effectively increased your win rate, right? And so by
correct, correct.
virtue of that process of data collection and extracting the insights from that data, you were
Mm,
able to then find and start trading those high probability setups. And of course, that then
exactly.
allowed you to overcome the FOMO,
Mm,
and all these other psychological issues that you were having. So it's again highlighting that importance of data collection. And and are you
yeah.
still doing any type of data collection now? Any type of journaling in your trading?
every single day. Like for me, it's still like I feel like if I'm not journaling my trades, or if I'm not, so how I collect my data now is, of course, it's very different to how I was doing it when I was learning, for example. Now a lot of it is in my mind, and it's what I understand, but I still have in front of my desk,
Mm.
for example, exactly my trading checklist. I know exactly what I'm looking for, and I allow myself um not to trade with my emotions. Like I try to get rid of that as much
Yeah.
as possible, and that is with having a strict trading plan as
Hmm.
well. So though once I started implementing those two things, so trading plan and
Yeah.
trading checklist, that had allowed me to basically get rid of a lot of my bad trading habits that included, for example,
Mm.
revenge trading, or trading out of fear, or trading because I thought I have to trade. And and then with that data collection, with the journaling, um, and also once I started to focus on
Mm.
myself, I feel like that was really my breakthrough. So even like when it comes to like trading psychology, I don't question my setups anymore. Whereas before, previously, if you're just, for example, coming blank to the
Hmm.
charts, no structure, no plan, no check, no
Yeah.
nothing, you just come into the session, you're looking to trade. Sometimes you may see something that you think is
Hmm.
right. Whereas now, for me, I have to see X, Y, Z. So I have like a checklist of
Yeah.
10 things that I need to see before I can place that trade. So
Hmm.
even though, for example, and that also means to me that if the trade is set up as high
Hmm.
probability, my data tells me that I should be risking money
Yeah.
at that point. So meaning that I'm okay to take a stop loss at that level if it happens, because my edge tells me that whatever out of 100 trades, 7, 8 out of them will play out with the high probability setup. Um, so yeah, so that means that also, for example, I don't adjust my trades if I see something that is, oh, for example, prices come back
Hmm.
to my entry. I'm not going to readjust that trade, because if I play out the data, if I
Yeah.
play out the edge, I know over big sample size of data, it's profitable. I'm okay with taking losses as well.
Again,
So
emphasizes
yeah,
the importance of data, of having that data, because then it helps you overcome that urge of revenge trading. And revenge trading, it's such a common problem for traders, especially
mm,
in the first, I would say, 3 to 5 years. So even traders who experience profitability, or they get payouts from funded accounts, that they still experience that sensation. So what does revenge trading feel like for you? And what is your
don't
process
yeah,
to not allow
mm,
it into your current trading?
yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like even like you can't. We're humans, okay? So everything that what we're actually doing in the markets is inhumane. So it goes against how we're
Mm.
programmed. So for example, the emotions that we're dealing with. For example, after we've taken a loss, as humans, we can't accept that kind of thing. So the biggest thing for me has been, for example, setting certain risk parameters per
Right.
day. So I allow myself, for example, a maximum of two
Yeah.
percent per day. If I hit my 2% for the
Hmm.
day loss, I won't trade for the rest of the day. Equally, at the same time, if I have three trading
Yeah.
days in a loss, I won't trade for the rest of that week. Then I will take a pause. I will reevaluate, and then see, okay, look, what have I overseen? What's happened in the market? And then go again the following week. And by implementing these rules for myself, and the biggest thing is, as traders, you have to
Yeah.
practice discipline. it, Trading is not for everybody, and I say this to everybody as well. Like if you have, for example, bad habits, if you can't be disciplined, if you can't be able to control your emotions and control your urgencies, or not follow a strict plan, it will be very, very difficult. So putting all of these rules into myself, and implementing those is the biggest thing. If there's one thing about, yes, you're just gonna say, for example, you're gonna stop trading at 2% loss, but it's about sticking to that as well.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so yeah.
And is there anything outside of trading that you do which is similar
Mm,
when it comes to,
mm,
you know,
mm.
doing what you should be doing, not what you feel like you should be doing? Because sometimes
Yeah,
there's certain things that you can do to maintain that discipline outside of trading. So what
mm,
do you do exactly to do that?
yeah, 100%. So for me, when I'm trading, for me, it requires a lot of focus. So for example, when I am at my session, when I'm trading, I'm very focused. And for me, the biggest thing has been, and what's actually helped with my trading is when I step outside of the house, for example, after the
Hmm.
trading day, and I'm in the
Right.
gym. So for me, that has been the biggest thing. So the gym, I'm four times a week in the gym, and the fifth day I do MMA and boxing. And being in the gym, whether I've had a good day or bad day, it has allowed me to basically reflect on the day, and it's a time that I allow myself to take for myself, basically. Sweat it out in the gym, in the sauna, reflect reflect upon the day, and whether it's been a good or bad day, that kind of allows me to calm down and have a change in environment. Because again, as I went in the beginning, um it can be very lonely when we're trading. So for example, we don't have bosses, we don't have colleagues, we're not interacting really with
Hmm.
anybody. So it's really down to ourselves to keep ourselves in check, and also look after ourselves. So before, in my early stage, like when I was in my
Yeah.
learning phase, I would just be in my room, for example, and it's the same environment. And it became very, very, I would say, quite toxic at times. Also, when I was going through my down phases, I was questioning that. There were a lot of times when I would give up as well. Um, but yeah, now I have a strict routine. So I'm up from London session until London close. That's normally my trading routine. And then I'm in the gym between like 6 to 8
Okay.
p.m. And I would say like also like a lot of my best ideas have come from either sitting in the sauna, in the gym alone, or just in my thoughts at that time. And I was reading something where somebody said like a lot of people, they get their best ideas was in the shower. And why is that? And it's often like, if you ask around as well, like for example, why is it that, for example, when you're in the shower, for example, you get some of the
Mm.
best ideas? Because it's a part of the day where, one, you're alone, and you're not really distracted by
Yep.
anything else. um, and that side, I was start thinking about this, and I was like, okay, look, you have to take a certain part of your day to be one alone and be isolated, whether it's 10-15 minutes a day, whether that's meditating, whether that's taking some time out. So that's normally for me when I'm sitting in the sauna, for example. I'm not really thinking about anything
Yep.
else, and that allows me to basically recheck
Hmm.
my thoughts, reflect on the day, and that has been a big element, I
Wow,
would say.
good that's such a good process, because it's that moment when you're in that sauna where you're so present. Like you said, there's no distractions, and that's when the creativity comes out. And I think that for most traders right now, it's difficult to find those 5, 10, or 15 minutes on their own, because they're working full time, or they work in 2, 3 jobs, or they're a parent who just, any
Mm,
spare time that they have is dedicated to their children or their
mm,
spouse.
mm.
And any spare minutes that they have, what do most people do? They go on their phone,
On the
they
phone,
start checking
and
social
yeah,
media.
yeah,
uh,
that's it.
and there's never a moment where they just dedicate just them, just
Mm,
no distractions, just a present moment. And that in itself can be uncomfortable for people,
mm,
because I've spoken to a lot of traders, or I try to get them to meditate, and they're like, this is so weird, this is like,
mm.
and they keep itching, they keep
Think, yeah,
moving. I'm like, try to stay still, just relax. It's so hard, right?
it
To be able to
is,
do
it is.
that. But I think the harder meditation is, or to be in the present moment, the more you need it.
100%. I feel like the mind, is working constantly 24/7. You have to think about, your brain is actually working 24/7, and you need to give that a bit of a rest as well. And also, like, the way the world is programmed now, we are so attention driven. So for example, like we need the stimulus, we need, for example, to check the phone notification, we need to check constantly on our, like for me, like one of the other biggest thing that's that has an effect on me as well is my phone is on do not disturb for 24 hours.
Wow.
I don't like no I have no notifications, no nothing. That's my primary phone. And I only, when I select the time I want to spend on social media, or when I click specifically on that, that's when I check my notifications. And that's also another one thing that has, allowed me to not constantly think about what's
Mm,
happening on social media. And yeah, it was so yeah, we've been created so much into and we need to go back and practice, how we were as humans before,
yeah.
and increase our attention span.
100%. What I love about what that process you described about having and selecting and limiting the times on the phone is that you're essentially created a strategy for yourself, a process, and when you perform, when you are at a high probability of high performance, because there's
Mm,
times of the day and there's certain amount of information that we
yeah,
can take in, and
100.
if we're overloaded with too much
Yeah,
distraction, too many things, we're not going to make effective decisions when we're trading.
definitely.
uh, and if we're not exercising the body, meditating the mind, again, we're not generating those essential skills for
Mm,
calmness,
mm,
composure, focus, endurance. And so the process that you've
mm,
described is, and everything that you've mentioned so far is very much what high performing traders are doing. And it's no wonder you've achieved success in your trading. And that's why I wanted to bring you onto the podcast, because a lot of these themes are being repeated, and a lot of the listeners are finally getting an idea of what it takes to be a high performance trader. So I want to start bringing on some of the questions from the audience. There are a lot of traders watching right now. So if you guys have any questions, just pop it up on the chat, and then we'll start selecting questions as we go. Um, but one thing you mentioned, you do boxing and MMA. I really wish you turned up to the
mm.
boxing session of the FFT boot camp, man. Because Riz, he was knocking guys out, man.
I saw some of the clips. I saw some of the clips. Yeah, now for me, it would have to be somebody of the similar weight class. I'm not putting myself up against
Oh,
Riz.
bro,
I'm not
yeah, he
putting
sparked
myself
me
up.
up, man.
Yeah, I saw some of the videos, but no, it looked good fun. And again, what allows me with boxing is, keeping my mind sharp, being able to, practice discipline, and also being able to take hits as well. Especially, when you come to the market as well, we take a lot of hits. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Oh, Umzi's in the chat. Shout out to Umzi. Yeah, weight difference
is my boy.
is yeah. So what is your weight though, Riz? What is
Man. Uh, I'm around 75 kg, so that's about how much in
Wow.
pounds?
So I'm 75
160,
as well,
170.
bro. I think we're gonna have to jump in the ring, man.
Yeah, similar weight class, then
Yeah,
why not?
God.
Why
How
not?
long you been doing boxing, MMA?
So just about 18 months now, but I've been just training. I'm not training to fight or anything. It's been more so like just one cardio, and also just I want to know like the skills. I want to know um um yeah, just a sport. I was into it, and now, especially with trading, I have that time period, or that's allowed me to basically practice what I want to do, like my
Yeah.
work on some of my skills, um, and hobbies as
So
well. Definitely.
what similarities have you found in your MMA and boxing training, that in terms of mindset that you're using in your trading now?
Yeah. So one thing I would definitely say is, staying sharp. You have to, and you have to train your mind to be constantly
Mm,
sharp as well. As humans, I think there's only a certain amount of period in the day that our brain uh functions at a certain level that is required to perform high performance tasks. And even when you're in the ring, you it's about seeing one or two opportunities. You again going for the high probability. You don't want to tire yourself out, but you're just punching
Yeah.
left, right, and center. When it comes to that golden opportunity, that you don't have the power for it. So yeah,
Love
there's a lot
that.
of
Love
similarities
that.
to
Yeah,
high
that's true.
performance
You
sports.
tire yourself out, you don't have the power. It's like if you trade too much, then you don't have enough
Mm,
risk. You've used up your risk for the day.
exactly. And that's one thing whenever I'm speaking to traders that are early in the stages, is the importance of high probability trades and the effect that it has on your mind. So what I mentioned was, for example, let's say you have a sample size of 5 trades. Okay, let's say the first 3 trades are low probability. Okay, the fourth trade is high probability, but by the time you've taken 3 losses, mentally you're like, okay, maybe I should reduce my risk now because I've taken 3 losses. So on the fourth trade, that was actually meant to be your first high probability trade. Now you've reduced your risk, and it turned out to be a win, but you're still in an overall loss because now you fluctuated with the risk sizing, and
Mm,
mentally you've taken first 3 losses. Now on the fourth trade, you've been like all over the place, or which can happen as well, you miss a session. You miss,
mm-hmm.
for example, you've missed a London trade session, and then you've missed your high probability trade, and that's it pretty much. So
Yeah, got to
yeah.
select those punches, man. Got to select
Exactly.
the right hits.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple of
Yeah.
questions here from the audience. So Wakiko
Sure.
asks, focus and concentration while trading is key. How have you navigated this in a distraction field, or in this
Yeah.
yeah, trading can be very distracting, social media, etc.
Yeah.
What tools do you use? I mean, I know you mentioned one as
Yeah.
well, putting your phone on no disturb. Is there anything else?
Yeah. So strictly for me, for my trading session, no social media, and also no, for example, like even though I have my charts, I won't open. I will have, for example, my Discord or Twitter, whatever, but I'm not interacting with it
Mm,
um, until after the session. Most of the times after the
mm-hmm,
session, um, normally I have like a window of, I would say, about 1 hour, between 1 and 2 hours London session, and 1 and 2 hours New York session. That's like about my, I would say, 2 90-minute sessions in the
yeah,
day, uh, high focus.
yeah,
Those are the times I don't want to be. I shut off pretty much everything
mm-hmm,
else. That includes having my phone on do not
yeah.
disturb, and also any applications I'm running, any social media I'm not really interacting with until after the session.
Yeah, that makes
Um,
sense, because when I said to you, "Oh, let's do a live stream at 1 o'clock UK time," you're like, "No, no, no, that's my trading time." I was like,
yeah,
"All right, what
yeah,
time you free then?"
yeah, it's I don't know. I don't take any calls until pretty much 4 5 p.m. Like that's normal. Like my routine is very strict.
Love that.
Like from London, 7 8 a.m. until 4 5 p.m.
Mm,
That's normally my my window.
love that.
Um,
So I've got another question here from Isaac. Uh, in regards to your trade checklist, can you describe some of the
yes.
things in that trading checklist and what it entails?
Yeah, sure. So again, these are few things that I have collected from my data. So for example, my high probability trades are the pro trend trades. So pro trend higher time frame. So those are going to be likely to be high probability. So if I'm trading counter trend, I understand that again that I need to be a little bit more, or I need some more confluences. Some of the other things that I look into, again, this will depend on what you trade, where you're trading. So for me, again, is a trading session. I only trade the London and New York sessions, or London and New York overlap, and that is within my checklist. So I don't trade outside of those hours. Um, I trade Euro USD mainly, and that is paired with DXY. So for me, again, I need some sort of DXY confluence. And then yeah, there's a few other things that are for my that I've developed with my strategy, and yeah.
All right, I got another question here. Are there any podcasts or books that you recommend to read or listen to in
Yeah,
regards to psychology?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, anything. So trading wise, I don't know if there's many podcasts. So one podcast I love and give a big shout out to as well is Riz. So his podcast is definitely, you know, again, you see all sort of different traders, different backgrounds, different things, and you learn. You will pick up from everybody something. Yeah,
Is there any
I'm
particular
not.
podcast from Words of Wisdom that that really sort of like that you remember and it really resonated, taught you something?
So the few traders actually, Rahat is in his. Rahat is in his also. His one was a really good one.
Okay.
Um, Uma's with TFT podcast, very raw, very straight up as well, and you'll see, for example, and also again, speaking with some of these other traders as well,
Mm.
you learn, for example, the different levels, or what they're operating at as well. On some of these traders, they're trading with, and something that I've seen as well is trading with conviction. So, for example, having full faith
Mhm.
in your system, having the
Yeah.
confidence in your system, and then going into the trades with the relative size. And yeah, and, I feel like a lot, don't really sugarcoat a lot of things. Trading is raw. It's difficult, but it is possible as well, and it's also very rewarding. So, yeah.
Good, good. So I've got a question here from Shonin. How do you manage discretion versus mechanical approach to your trading? So when adjusting for mistakes or adjustments in the trading strategy, how do you refrain from always over optimizing the previous trade? Yeah, this is a very, very good question. So there's like two parts to it.
Mm.
So first part
So,
about how do you manage discretion
yeah.
versus mechanical?
Mm. One thing I would say, definitely say, is, so the markets are dynamic, meaning they're forever changing. It's never going to be the same. So you have to be adaptable as a trader. That's a very big important thing as well. So as mechanical as we can want to be, we need to be able to make adjustments and adapt our system.
Mm,
So for me, I try to stick very, very mechanical, but there will be times, and this only comes from experience in the markets, where, for example, you will see something and you would have to, for example, adjust the trading plan, or adjust I have, for example, certain things in my
mm-hmm.
trading plan or in my checklist that allow for adaptability. Meaning, for example, if price enters a level in a certain way, only then I may have to look for further confluence. If it plays out how it's meant to be, then I'm okay taking my checklist. However, if there's always so also, if you look at when we're looking at programming as well, there's
Mm-hmm.
if causes. So meaning, if the market delivers price in X way,
Yep.
then there's another way to basically carry out that process.
I love that. Yeah, something that I go through when I'm coaching traders, especially when developing that type of trading plan, is to create a flow chart.
Mm,
And this is game changing. So
correct.
having this if and then type of
Mm,
flow chart where you got boxes and then arrows pointing. So if yes, you see that signal or
yeah,
confluence, you move on to the next. If no, then you stay where you are. There's no trade. This is
correct.
such a game changer.
That's it. That's
Uh,
it.
and got a question from earlier. So there's a trader says I'm currently down 5% on my 400k live. How should I approach this, knowing that I only have 5% more to lose on the account? That's a good question because a
Mm,
lot of traders are in this position.
yeah, yeah. No, good question. So I would definitely say, so if you win, the thing with drawdown is also it tests you as a trader. Don't let your emotions get to you. Yes, you're down 5%. It's not the end of the world. You The first aim should be to bringing the account back to break even.
Mm-hmm.
So don't try to go for home runs, where, for example, risking 1 or 2% to make back that 5%. Keep the system. If and again, this goes back to, if the strategy is profitable, to stick to it. However, don't know really know you know if you've tested the strategy before going into the challenge.
Mm.
If it's a live account, the circumstances are going to
Yeah.
change, the emotions. But I would definitely say, in order to get to the live account, you've practiced something. So stick with it. Um, bring the and the first aim should be try to bring the account back to break
Mm.
even, and whether that means going half the risk.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm not sure which challenge you're with, time limit or sorry, live account. So yeah, maybe reduce your risk. Stick to the
Mm-hmm.
process, and basically try to bring the account back to break even at first point, I would say. If that's something I would do, for example, if I'm in drawdown, um to either reduce the risk and then play out the edge.
Love that. Love that. So we've got a question here from Umzi. Um, should question yourself, why are you in 4% drawdown to begin with? Then evaluate how correct that accordingly. Okay, evaluate how to correct that accordingly. Okay, so it's more of a statement. I thought that was a question.
Yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely agree with that. Question just came in from ICT Hispanohablantes. Do you trade every day?
I don't trade every day. Nah. So for me, the way I've developed my system is I may look at the markets every day. Meaning, for example, um, I wake up, I look at my London session, and then if I see my value setup being presented, I take it. If not, then not. Also, I trade for time freedom,
Mm.
so that has been the biggest thing for me. So essentially means I don't want to be at the charts every single
Mm-hmm.
day. I don't want to be at the charts the whole
Yeah.
day. So how it works for me normally is, if I hit my targets early in the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, um, and then I'll take normally the rest of the week off. Or I've also had, for example, weeks where I've traded. So this is actually a very good example. Last week I was sidelined all week pretty much. No high probability trades for myself last week, but this morning I've taken 2 trades and 2 wins. So and I'm off to a good start for the week. And then from going now forward, I will only take anything super high probability, meaning the rest of the week I don't need to trade.
Nice. I saw you were at the tennis and the Wimbledon. So
Yeah,
because there was no trades for you, so you decide, all right, let me go enjoy myself.
it's ultimately, I mean, we work so hard, we have to enjoy ourselves. I'm going to take off days, I'm going to take off, I go on holiday as well.
Mm.
And even when I'm abroad, for example, I will switch off from the charts. Yeah, for me that's the biggest thing is, I for me I can't trade when I'm not, for example, at my desk, when I'm not fully
Mm-hmm.
focused. So when I do decide to take time out, that's essentially I'm taking a break from the market as
So
well.
it's actually part of your trading process
Yeah,
to take time away from the charts, reset,
complete.
enjoy yourself. So then when you come back again, you are mentally
Exactly.
primed and focused and
Mm,
ready for trading again. That's
yeah,
so powerful. A lot of
yeah.
people, and look, if you guys, if you can't afford a holiday, or look, they should find somewhere where you're surrounded by nature, right? Whether it's a local park, a local beach, a local forest, or a local river. Walk barefoot in the sand, just spend some time alone in nature. That's such a powerful way to be able to reset you.
Yeah.
And obviously, as you develop as a trader and you progress, um, in your as a prop trader, you start getting payouts, you start reinvesting that, and you start scaling your business. Then obviously you be able to afford holidays, like Riz here, for example.
Yeah, now I even say like weekends, normally, take some time off from the charts. If you're
Mm.
focused Monday to Friday, at least take one of the days off. And just take a break away from the charts. Very essential as well. And again, that's something that's worked really well for me as well, and my structure and plan. So for example, the routine I mentioned earlier, I work like that for about 2 or 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
I can only work at my optimum, with that routine for around 2 or 3 months, and then I start to feel like a burnout. And
Yeah.
when I can feel that, then I will normally take off some time. I'll leave that like a week or so, and then I'll go away somewhere, take a break from the chart, and then come back recharged, refocused, and then go again.
I love that. I love that because what you're describing, you described a similar process earlier because you do it's the 3 R's, the 3 steps. which is reset, review, recalibrate. So you do that between sessions. You do that every quarter approximately, and it's part of your.
Yeah.
You just know yourself. You know when you're likely to reach burnout. So you have processes to eliminate the triggers that are going to cause you to get burnt out, and then you end up self-sabotaging, and we all know what that looks like in our trading. So
self self-awareness is one of the biggest things in trading. Like, you need to, be very, very true to yourself. Understand, for example, if I'm not at my optimal, am I taking bad? So if I'm taking bad trading decisions, is it because I'm not at my optimal? Is there stresses outside of my trading? Is it, like, for example, family or something going on? So yeah, you have to be very, 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 very raw, self-aware, and true to
100%,
yourself. Um,
100%.
that's the
So
biggest thing,
question from
definitely.
Umzi: how do you approach your personal account versus funded accounts?
Yeah. So yeah, for me, personal account versus funded account. So I trade more comfortably trading my personal accounts. Again, for me, the biggest thing is and no, I have nothing against prop funds, but I just feel like, as you're growing as a trader, the ultimate goal should be to, be completely self reliant on yourself. So I don't want to be, for example, be reliant on somebody else or another company to essentially pay me. Funded accounts, again, with the risk parameters. On my personal account, I may be able to
Right.
risk a little bit more. My funded account, I treat them half of the size. So, for example, a 200K account I would treat as a 100K account. So essentially, meaning you would have to hit double the amount of trades to
Yeah.
lose that account. And I would say I'm quite a conservative trader. So I'm aiming for about 2 to 5% a month. Again, not every month is going to be the same, and you shouldn't
Yeah.
really have aims, but on average, around 2 to 5%. On my personal account, I can push it a little bit more. And yeah, biggest thing is for me, and has been, is try to build my personal account, where I wouldn't be needing to be reliant on prop funds. Don't get me wrong, prop funds are a massive advantage to traders with low capital. Um, yeah, it's one of the reasons I stayed in the game. If it wasn't for the prop fund, I probably wouldn't be trading anymore, because the thing is, in order to reach that kind of capital, it could take years. And again, why a lot of traders fall into bad habits is, trying to flip accounts to get high capital accounts.
And whilst you build up your personal training account, how much of the profits from funded prop firms do you allocate to your personal funded account? As a percentage.
Yeah, I would say, as a percentage is difficult to say, because it's more so the amounts, and also I would say, like, I try to keep my monthly costs to
Yeah.
as low as possible. So yeah, so reducing my monthly costs, especially if you're in the come up. I would definitely say, try to reduce your monthly cost to as minimum as possible, meaning that there's a certain X amount of money that you need to survive, basically. And before going full time, and I say this to a lot of people as always, don't just dive straight into trading full time if you have, one, not proven yourself to be consistent, or if that's your only source of income.
Yeah.
It just makes it so much harder. And everybody who I've seen succeed, either had another source of income, whether that's a job or something they're doing on the side, and then that has allowed them to really focus on the process of trading instead of trying to make money from the trading. So yeah, so even for me, so for example, like, keeping the monthly cost low, and there was time that I would just put in whatever I'm getting from the prop funds just straight into my personal account, and allowing to build that.
And when it comes to your expenses, at what point do you increase your expenses in order to increase your lifestyle? At what point is the best point?
Yeah, that is, yeah. So that's also one thing I definitely say. So, um, thing with, yeah. So a lot of people, what happens is, for example, they may get one or two good payouts, and then start to increase their lifestyle
Yeah.
immediately. For example, they put two or three payouts in a row, and then
Go
they're like,
virally.
okay, they feel like they feel like they're on top of the world. Don't get me wrong, Rolex is not a bad investment. Again, depending on what you're buying, um, yeah, depending on what you're buying, it's actually one habit of mine that I actually like to do is I put
Yeah.
money aside into certain assets such as watches or gold or whatever. Where if the money is in my bank account is very likely I'll blow it or
Yeah.
spend it on some whatever. So whenever I hit like a certain thing, I'll put it into a watch, for
Hmm.
example, and put it away. That way, I know it's also very liquid. I can get out of it if I want. Most of the times,
Yeah.
the price increases, and
And it looks
yeah,
nice to
it
wear it as well.
allows me, and you enjoy it, definitely.
Nice.
Sorry, yeah, going back to the question, sorry, I just kind of waffled off there. Um, yeah, going back to the question of the lifestyle expanding, yeah, so you don't want to really do any of that until I don't know, you have like a fixed certain, because the thing is trading, there'll be good months, bad months. So you need to be able to, take that into account. So you need to have some again data, for example, 2 years, I would say, and try to see, okay, look, what is your average mean each month that you
Yeah.
can bring in. Everybody wants nice flashy car, house, or whatever, and take up a mortgage. But it's very, very again, you have to be very true to yourself as well. That
Hmm.
if you take on these extra expenses, now mentally you need to not perform more as well. For some people it can
Yeah.
work out really well. I know some people who work better like this because now they're more motivated to work harder, but that's not the case for everybody,
Yeah.
and I would recommend that for everybody as well. So yeah, being very, very careful with increasing your lifestyle expenditures, um, just because you can have bad months. Few months good is not just gonna be few good months is not gonna be a true reflection of the earnings over a
Yeah.
longer period of
Totally
time.
agree with what you're saying.
Um,
Uh,
but don't get me as well. Like if you're young, we work hard. Do enjoy yourself. Do occasionally buy yourself something nice. Go out for a nice meal. Go on a holiday. Not saying blow all of your money or whatever, but put like an allocation amount of whatever you make, whether that's 20% to spend it on yourself as well, because that's also one thing that when you realize these profits are actually coming virtually online
mm,
essentially, um, and you realize those gains and see what that money can provide in real life, whether that's looking after your family or spending on yourself as well. That again keeps you
yeah, I love that.
motivated
So
as well.
about 20% of your payouts, use that to then fund the lifestyle, help other family members, and essentially reward yourself.
Definitely be smart with your money, save some money, invest money, spend some money on yourself as well. And also, for example, if you are, for example, getting these payouts consistently, try to, for example, use that money to then invest in yourself, in your own business, whether that's scaling up to more challenges, using that money to then
Yeah,
buy up more challenges, and then that makes a lot of it easier, very, very
100%. Because
much
then
easier.
as you increase your AUM, you can reduce your risk. Therefore, you have a
Correct.
bigger buffer or runway in case you go into
Yeah.
losing streak. So this is no, these insights are amazing. So a couple of questions here from the audience. How many trades do you place over a month?
Over a month, I would say it varies. Some months are going to be better months, some months are going to be lower months. For example, December, January, a bit
Mm,
slower month. So I would say on average, I take between 2 to 5 trades a week. Some weeks, no trades. For example, last week, no high probability trades for myself. So some weeks I'm sidelined, especially if it's high impact news, or I get a feel for the market. For example, last week I wanted to see more confluence
mm,
and information from the market to form a clear bias. If I don't have a clear bias, then I'm more inclined towards sitting out, for example, a week or
mhm.
sitting out a few days to let more data develop and more information come out to
Oh,
form a
okay.
bias.
So I've got a question here from Tri. No, there's another one here actually. Have you ever suffered from missing trades due to fear? That's from Capo.
Yeah, early stages, yeah. But again, this is something that you learn while you're in the market. Is, for example, I would have forgotten last week that I missed a trade because it's a new week. There's more opportunity in the market, so at times, yes, it can be annoying. It might be like, for example, I was at the Wimbledon last week, and there was a setup that would have played out, but I wasn't mad because I
Yeah.
took out that day, for example. So there will be times you'll miss trades, but you need to know that the market will give you the next opportunity, whether that's next day,
Yeah.
next week, next month. You know, it will come. It will come by. It's not like it was the last opportunity
But
ever for an
on that day,
opportunity.
you were actually profitable, but it was your mental capital that had profit because you were resetting yourself. You were
Correct.
invested in yourself. You had that time with
Definitely.
yourself and your friends. Doing Wimbledon. How amazing is that, right? So you come back to the charts motivated, reset. It's you got to take into fact, guys. There's not only trading capital, but there's also mental capital. You need to work on both.
Definitely.
100%.
Also, yeah, and again, just going back to the fact that we work hard. We need to enjoy ourselves as well. Like I didn't put in these years of hard work, 5 years of hard work and constant grind and losses and everything to not enjoy myself or just be, for example, yes, I prioritize work a lot, but I'm never gonna be, for example, 27 again. So there comes an element where you need to enjoy the moment in life as well. Like we don't know, tomorrow is
Yeah.
not guaranteed. So yeah, don't, and it doesn't matter if you're trading on whatever you're doing, um, whatever you're doing in life, whether it's a job or whatever, do take out some time to enjoy the moment you're living as well. Don't just think, for example, when I become a trader, I will be happy, or when I become a trader, I will do this, or when. So yeah, so do enjoy the moment you're in life
100%.
right now as well.
So we're just coming up to the final few minutes. So we're not gonna get through everyone's
Yeah,
questions, but the questions have been lit. I mean, and your responses as well have been
yeah,
really good.
that's
So I'll let you choose from what you see on the screen here. You
Yeah, I'll go through the top one. So I think it's Uma asking question. Where did I learn, and anything specific? And did I have a real mentor? I'll be completely transparent and honest. So I took one course early in my career, and it's somebody who I still have a lot of respect for. But with me, it wasn't my trading style, but I did take elements from there. So, for example, I mentioned I learned risk management and journaling from there. So when I started off learning, there was not a lot of information available, not a lot of good educational knowledge. Where compared to now, for example, on YouTube, I think hundreds of different strategies now,
Yeah.
and a lot of them that work. So whereas in my career, there was very, I would say very vague information, and I had to dig really deep for it. There was a few PDFs that I was going through, and a lot of it came from putting things together from different things and putting it to my understanding, to what I understood from the market and what made sense to me. I come from an engineering background, so I question a lot of things. So I was reverse engineering. So I was pretty much reverse engineering and trying to make things work according to my understanding. So no, I didn't have a real mentor at all. So there was not one specific somebody that I said. So it was like a few different things that I took online, a lot of free information, but that cost me a lot of time, and a lot of less. Like I had to go through weeks and months of testing things to make something work that's working now for me. Um,
Yeah, and it seems as though you've utilized that experience. You've made mistakes,
mm,
you've implemented processes, you've used the data, you've actually
mm,
done the work and put the
yeah,
data onto your spreadsheets,
yeah,
looked at the data, found what was high probability, what was low probability, optimized, and the results speak for themselves. You've not only have you had success in your own trading, but you've also helped and mentored
mm,
other traders, and that's game changing. And that a massive
Yeah.
respect, because there's one thing doing it on your own, but there's other things lifting others, and that's what Trader Roundup's all about.
Yeah.
We're all about coming
Yeah.
together, because together we are
Mm.
stronger, and we rise by lifting others. So massive respect. Because even one of your students here was saying that you've helped them out, and you've helped out others. So
Mm.
that's amazing, man. His question
Yeah.
is that help something you? Yeah, did you know? Is that help something you had when you began your journey? I think you've answered that already when it came to mentorship.
No, exactly. So I didn't have that
Yeah.
help, and for me, so at first I thought the strategy only works for me, that only I can make it work. For example, like it makes sense to
Mm.
me, but now seeing success from and in a short period of time, I'm talking about 6 months, seeing people I've mentored become funded, trading and payouts as well. So and within a short period of time, that really gives me confidence in my system. That okay, look, one, gives me more confidence in my
Yeah.
system. One, that it works, it's robust, it's transferable, it's mechanical, and that is essentially what I took years to produce. Um, again, from data, um, from data that I've collected.
Wow, amazing. So another one of your students here, he's had about 6 mentors over the last 5 years, but Riz, you've been far the most effective. So where
Uh,
where can
I
where can traders reach you and get in contact
no,
with you?
yeah. No, I really appreciate. I mean, like for me, like money aside, like it's being able to see others, the help that I didn't have and I wished I had at the time when I was going through the struggle, or it was months, and when I wanted to quit, I didn't really have anybody to go to. Yeah, eliminating all of that. Yeah, again, it really means a lot to me. I really appreciate everybody who recognizes the work, recognize the hard work. And yeah, so mostly on Twitter you can find me, Sardar FX, SARDAR FX. I am on Instagram as well, Riz Sardar, RIZ SARDAR.
Mhm.
And yeah, and even like I never at first I didn't really want to get to the education space. I kind of fell into it, but it aligned with my vision that I have with the investment management company. Is having my own trading floor, having my own hedge fund, having traders trading different assets, different time frames, and being able to train traders with
Mhm.
having overseen them. So I understand, for example, I'm not taking, for example, externally and then having to remove the bad habits. So I know, for example, and yes, one of the reasons why I got into that was, so I can train traders that I could essentially work with in the future.
Amazing, amazing, Riz. I want to thank you. You've been such an amazing guest. So
Appreciate it.
much wisdom, so much value, and hopefully we can have a part two sometime.
Yeah,
So
why
again,
not? Yeah,
very
thank you
honored.
for the invite. I appreciate it. I mean, yeah, I think we can go for hours, and there's a lot to talk about always. But yeah, again, brother, I really appreciate the invite. I hope the viewers have taken value and there's something to do. And again, if you have any questions, you can feel free to DM me, DM you as well. I'm pretty sure. And then yeah, that's it.
Awesome.
Really enjoy that.
So yeah, no, it's been really good. I'm trying to find my outro video. I can't find it.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna play any outro. There we
Yeah.
go. All right, brother.
And
Big up,
everybody,
man.
thank you for joining in. And then peace out. Yeah,
Peace
thank
out.
you.